Hi, fifth graders. Today we're going to look at representing decimals, and our target for today is reading decimal numbers and representing them with base 10 pieces. When we look at the place value chart, we're looking at hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones, all as our whole numbers. And then we need to get real familiar with working beyond the decimal point. So just like last week, we talked about 10 times smaller with each place value. Let's remind ourselves of what we did last week. When we're looking at the Great Wall, we have the 10,000s. Divided by 10, we have 1,000. Divide by 10, we have 100. Remember that 100, the 10 by 10? 10 times smaller, we get 10. 10 times smaller, now we have one whole. But if we zoom in and take a closer look, we actually see 100 little pieces inside that one whole number. So below the decimal place, we have tenths, hundredths, and thousands. Let's take a look at a video together that looks at decimal place value.
If you split the number 1 into 10 parts, that's where the decimal place value start. The values less than 1, they're quite small, like 0.1, which is a decimal, y'all. This number as a fraction is 1 over 10, and 0.1 is its decimal equivalent. Fractions over 10, 100, 1000, and on are all decimal numbers, it's a phenomenon. Decimals are fractions, just with different names. They each have a value that's exactly the same. Whole numbers to the left, decimals to the right. They get smaller and smaller till they're barely inside. Like whole numbers can get big, decimals can get small. If you know place value, you can imagine them all. On a place value chart, you'll see a pattern starts. If you split 1/10 into 10 equal parts, this new value is 100th, and in every case 100 hundredths equals one whole in the ones place. And if you split just 100th into 10 parts, that's the next place on the place value chart. This value is 1,000th of the number 1. Like every decimal, it's a special fraction. When any denominator is a power of 10, that fraction can be written as its decimal equivalent. Whole numbers to the left, decimals to the right. They get smaller and smaller till they're barely inside. Like whole numbers can get big, decimals can get small. If you know place value, you can imagine them all.
Knowing place value can help you not only write decimal numbers, but build decimal numbers and add and subtract decimal numbers. So let's take a look at a few together. We're going to use the base 10 number pieces app to represent each of these numbers, and some of them are adding and subtracting decimals as well. Let's take a look at two together. The first number was 1.07. So there's the number 1. And each of these are 1/100th of a one whole. So if we look at this piece as one whole, there's one whole, and each of these are 1/100th. So we have the number 1 and 7/100ths. When you're ready to share, you click this box down here at the bottom, and it will share the picture that you want. So click it. I like to save the image. Then you can go into the slideshow and insert the image, and we can see your work from the Number Pieces app. Let's try one more together, and then the rest will be on your own. 1 and 1500ths plus 2 and 600ths. Open the Number Pieces app again. 1 and 1500ths plus 2 and 600ths. So that's 1, 2, 3 wholes, and 1500ths would be a tenth, And just like last week, we would want to build a minimal collection. So these would actually become a 10. So that would be 3, 1/10, 2/10, and 1/100. And I just want to show you the algorithm as well. Decimal numbers can just be stacked on top of each other as if they were whole numbers. And add the ones column first, which is actually the hundredths column, the smallest place value first. That would be 11, carry the 1. That would be 2. The decimal place comes down. The decimals must be stacked on top of each other, and that's 3 wholes. It's a good way to check your work. I have the picture and the algorithm. I'm going to click the arrow. Save image. Go back to my slideshow. You are responsible for doing the last 4 problems and turning in this assignment. And reach out to your teachers if you have any questions about representing decimals with place value pieces and adding and subtracting decimals.